I will try to speak on women leadership, not because I am a leader and I know about women leadership, but I see things and I see other people. There are very strong women around me, at my home, in the place where I work, and I just hope that I will be able to say something of value, even if I don't just put up with me. I'm sure there are many things that we can, many things in whatever I'm saying that we can agree on. I understand that the profile is largely of students, these people who are still figuring out what to do with life. They have a lot of confusions. The confusions never end, but this is the age from like maybe 18 to 30 where you are still not sure about many things, and a lot of apprehensions come in your mind. So I'll try to give a little bit of a perspective to that, and we'll start with what the topic is: women in leadership. um, we have this very strong sense of notion that leadership would mean somebody, very powerful, maybe a CEO, or maybe a politician, or an IPS officer like myself, or an IAS officer, or things like that. No, let's debunk this topic. First of all, leadership position means a position in which you have a capacity to lead, right? So you can be in that position even if you are a homemaker. You can be in that position even if you are employing one person somewhere in your shop or whatever it is. You can be in that position where when you are able to decide any decision. The decision may range from how you're going to spend your home's budget to how you're going to run the country. So leadership does not always mean that you have to be in that position where you have uh, done some things and you have, means cross these barriers and things like that. The barriers are those that are in our minds, and for you may say that okay, she has passed the exam and like she has done such a great thing, but maybe my struggle is lesser than maybe somebody who has decided to marry a person of her choice. So something as simple as that. The moment you decide to take control of your life, the moment you decide to take decisions for yourself, you come to a position of leadership. So taking from that, so with that definition, I think we all can agree that we are leaders in our own right. All of us have decided. Maybe Rongmit Lepcha has decided that she wants to take up this particular subject and not another subject for her graduation or masters. So she is a leader. She has decided that she will do certain things. She has executed the decision, and she is a leader. So going from that ahead, um, when we talk about an equal future, leadership, women in leadership, and achieving an equal future is the topic, right? When we talk about an equal future, um, it comes to our mind that it's men and women working side by side and doing the same things. Here I would like to touch upon the concept of equality and vis-a-vis the concept of equity, right? So a lot of people think, like especially when I was also growing up, I had a very wrong concept of a wrong notion of feminism. Feminism was seen as a thing which are used by women only to hate men, to fight against men, and to generally be very aggressive. So feminism was seen as something that was that was a cuss word, like oh my god, she's a feminist. And even I, when I was growing up, I used to very proudly call myself a humanist. I would say that I'm not a feminist, I'm just a humanist. I'm a humanist because I want all humans to be treated equally, right? And I had a very strong perception of being a humanist at that point of time because of my wrong notions of what feminism meant to me. And so I was like, if men are doing this, women should be doing this. If men are not getting this, women should not be getting this. As simple as that. But later, as I grew up and then I experienced things, I read a lot, I watched a lot of things. So I came, as ma'am said earlier, Dr. Jasveen Kaur said earlier, we are all in a progress, a work in progress. So what I realized was that feminism is a very layered concept, and more layered is this concept of equality. We are never equal. So if you are going to put men and women on the same pedestal, that is not equality. If you are saying that a man and a woman, okay, let them stand on the same place, we will give them, like we'll give them equal amount of time, let them start from the same starting point and let them run. Whoever runs fastest will be the winner. So you may think that, okay, men and women equal, okay, they both have been given the same kind of shoes, okay, now run. If the man wins, woman maybe will win, may not win, depending on the level of the athleticism. But this is not equality. You are giving them the equal tools right now. But what do you do about the historical baggage that they are carrying as a gender? Maybe this girl was given one glass of milk every day, compared to her brother, who would be given two glasses of milk every day, for morning and night. Maybe this girl also had to do a lot of home chores, even if nothing else, just simple things like, making tea or sweeping the floor, which seem like nothing, but which the boys don't do, in most of the houses. And these simple things, as long as we are not putting these simple things also in the same level, there cannot be equality. And in case you have to make them equal, then you'll have to give a head start to this girl. You have to maybe give her a head start. I don't know how you calculate that, but you have to give her a head start of maybe 10 meters or 15 meters. And then can you call it equal? So when we talk about these things now, when there are reservations for women, when there are, in the bus or train or whatever, or even in jobs, when there are reservations of women, I hear a lot of disgruntled voices amongst men as well as women, these people get it easy, यिनीहरूको त reservation छ भइहाल्छ, यिनीहरूले पाइहाल्छ. No, this why we are getting this reservation is because of the baggage we carry, because we cannot step out of the house at any time we want to do our office work or anything that is, because we cannot give as much time to our office as you can, because we have to take care of our kids and our parents and your parents, because we cannot take advantage or enjoy the simple things that exist before us, only because of the fact that we are of a particular gender, a fact that is beyond our control, right? So so when we are factoring these things, when we are factoring things like our historical baggage of that the society puts on us, there cannot be a level playing field at all. For the level playing field to stop existing, we will have to do away with the historical baggage. And how do we do away with the historical baggage? We do away with historical baggage by taking certain steps, by identifying certain problem points and then addressing them. Oh, by the way, like, if you have any questions or anything, if you're not agreeing with me, or you have any counter view or something that you'd like to suggest, please add in the chat box. I will address it accordingly. So I spoke over the mistaken notion of feminism that I had, and what we can do now. We will discuss on what we can do about it, since this is about women in leadership, and I am being considered as a woman in leadership, I suppose. So, like, let's talk about it. Firstly, is let us stop judging each other. We women or men come in all shapes and sizes, we come in all forms, we come in with all perceptions, we come with, as I said, a different kinds of baggages. I may be coming from means, just because we're meeting at a particular place. For example, I have met a particular person in the badminton court, but that does not mean that the person has come from the same family that I have, has come in the same mode of transport that I am using, or is coming with the same background environment that I am. So let us stop judging each other. That is, I would say, the first thing. And I am saying this from a personal experience, because I used to be a big judger of character and things like that. I used to be very judgmental. My friends know it. Whoever knows me personally knows it. I used to be very judgmental. I used to judge like left, right, and center. But over time, I realized what a stupid girl I was. And when you are judging other people, when we are judging other people, we are actually putting restrictions to ourselves, to our growth, to our possibilities. For example, if I am judging that this girl is coming late to this one every day, like she's coming late home every day, 11 o'clock, is this the time to come? So next time I'm offered a night shift in a call center, I will hesitate, because maybe I will not take it, because, oh, I have spoken so much about that girl, and I have hated it so much, and I've judged so many people, so how can I now do it? So when you are judging other people, you are actually creating restrictions on ourselves. Okay. Secondly, start accepting. Start accepting. The other corollary of stop judging is to start accepting. Start accepting whom? Start accepting first of all ourselves. Start accepting ourselves, and then start accepting the other person for whatever they are. Because a confrontation may things make things better bitter, but if you are able to see, the thing is, many people decide the things they decide because of the particular logic, right? Like when I am the presiding officer for the internal complaints committee for sexual harassment, and when I speak to some of the persons against whom the complaints have been raised, some of the men do not even know that this amounts to sexual harassment, or this amounts to something that is not gender friendly, or this amounts to something as a product of the patriarchal culture. No, they do not. And because it is so set in our system, it is so set in our mindset that it is taken as a natural thing. It is taken as a natural thing. For example, even in our movies, chasing a woman, eve teasing, these things are treated as something, that women would dig. So because of all these things, they have a certain, so they have certain notions, and some of them may not even understand that what they are doing is wrong in these present circumstances. So it is upon ourselves to call out and then tell them very politely and cordially that, see, what you doing, and to men and women both, that see, what you're thinking and what you're doing is wrong because of this reason. And you counter question them, that you're saying that, you are talking about slut shaming, and you're saying that a girl is inviting rape upon herself. Can we have a discussion about it? Can you tell me why do you think that is, and why not? Should it be this way? So when you engage with them and when you discuss, you will get their points of views, and you'll be able to put forward your point of views. I always say that persuasion is the first and should be the preferred mode, rather than confrontation, because confrontation, there's always something bitter. Then ego issues come in between, and the person, even if believes in what you're saying, will not take it because of the ego hassles. So so it is important that we bring these people into our fold, men and women, into our fold, and try to persuade them and convince them with our logic rather than confronting them in the first instance, right? Because as I said, many of them may not even know that what they're saying and what they're doing is not gender friendly. um, thirdly, which I would encourage young girls and boys to do, is start reading. Reading is a habit which has been lost in our present society, because we are mostly scrolling. Even if you're reading while scrolling, use a Kindle, use your ebook, whatever it is, but please read. There's so much wealth and understanding out there. And the thing is that you don't have to, like in a confrontation, you have to fight with somebody, or you have to confront with somebody. In a book, when you're reading a book, you can discuss, or you can confront with the author, and in the through the writings, and put your think about your point of views, etc. It really increases your perception and perspective of life. And I would owe a large part of my change in perspective from being the person I was to reading different books and different authors. um, uh, Fourthly, the point which I would like to make is how we can create an equal future is start disseminating whatever you're reading, whatever you know, whatever you learn. It could be something as simple as an omelette ka recipe, or something as big as working out your tax forms. So disseminate, try to teach more people. Like for example, if there is a lady who comes for housekeeping in my house. She cleans the house and she does the dishes. And I make it a point to tell her that you should not be answering to any calls about the bank number and ATM details, and if anything comes, you should not be calling that. She had a problem with her daughter, like her in-laws were trying to get her married. She's only 15, so you tell her about child marriage, and you tell her that if you're going to do it, I'm going to report it to the police, and things like that. So whatever little you know, you try to share it with as many people as possible, as many women as possible, because that is important. That is, I would say, the first level of trying to empower somebody, right? Because the only empowerment that can happen is with knowledge. Physical fitness and all comes later, but the only empowerment that can initially take place, can initiate, is through knowledge. So try disseminating whatever you know. Like I said, I would repeat myself, it could be something as simple as an omelette recipe to something as complex as a tax filing or due diligence of a company, things like that. um, the fifth point is start speaking out, start calling out. And by calling out, you don't have to call out just on men. "Okay, see what you're doing, this is wrong, you should not think." Start calling out on men and women, and children who have wrong notions of what equality is and what feminism is. So once you start calling them out, what you do is you put yourself in a position where you are ready to discuss with them, and then you also make them reflect on what they have said, right? A person may be saying something very naturally, like, he may be using this phrase very openly. Like, for example, in my office there was a problem where a constable was constantly using the term darling to address to some of the lady constables. So he would be like darling this, darling that, and all. It came very naturally to him. But and these girls, these lady constables who were in the office, they would not take it well because they were not comfortable with the word. But they would be like, yeah, he uses it so much, so I don't know, I think we are supposed to accept it or something like that. No, if you're not comfortable with something, you call out first. It doesn't mean that you have to go and start slapping that person or something like that. Or you can call out, ki, excuse me, yeah, please don't use this word with me, I am not comfortable. That is the first level of resistance. So even after that, if the person continues doing it or things, then you can report it to the ICC, etc., etc. So the first and foremost step is to call out and to point out that, see, that what you're doing this is not correct, I am not comfortable with it. So that also, what does that do? When you call out, you put your perspective in place, you put your stand in place. And secondly, you give that person a moment to think about it, like, okay, was it something wrong that I said? Am I supposed to change it? And maybe he will then realize that maybe it's not appropriate, and he will change it, he or her will she will change it herself. This is not just to boys, this is to girls also. For example, in one of the organizations, uh, when they were discussing about the menstrual leave to be given to women employees, a very strong reaction came from a senior women boss, who said, ki, let us not do this. Anyways, they have this notion that girls take leave all the time and all that. If we give them menstrual leave, then it will add on to the thing. But when she was questioned by her junior employees, ki, ma'am, uh, how is that important? How is that perception that a woman does not work important if the woman is actually working? And menstrual leave is not something. And then secondly, she said that we should term it as sick leave. So the counter was, ma'am, why should we term it as sick leave? Because we are not equating menstruation to sickness. Menstruation is not sickness, it is something that is natural. It is a part of a monthly biological process, and we have to learn to accept that. Thirdly, she said, okay, you do that, but don't call it menstrual leave, call it special leave. So again, it was countered, ki, why should we call it special leave? We should be okay with using menstruation as a term. Gone are the days when it should be used just as a taboo. Everybody knows that women undergo a biological cycle every month, and if she's not well at that point of time, which happens for a large number of women, she should have the right to take a leave without affecting her pay and without affecting her perception at work. So so these are the kind of discussions that I'm talking about. Like, to call out, to put forth your point becomes the most important thing in case you want to bring about a change. The sixth point is, um, identifying the different levels in which patriarchy is entrenched. Like, it could be something as simple as which I have like, you use some things every day, using the word Mrs., Miss in before your name, right? Like, for example, if it is Dr. Jasveen Kaur. Dr. Jasveen Kaur is just Dr. Jasveen Kaur, because she has achieved at some level in her this one, in which she is just Dr. Jasveen Kaur. Nobody calls her Miss Dr. Jasveen Kaur or Mrs. Dr. Jasveen Kaur. But maybe for me, Aprajita, right? They will always be like, ma'am, should I write Miss or should I write Srimati, or like, all those words. So I said, what do you should not write anything. The very concept of this Miss, Mrs., it started from the fact that women needed to be identified from their marital status. It was important to know a woman's marital status because that would then decide her standing in society or her availability in society. Because you say that a man, even if he's married or not married, does not change. It's just Mr. The moment you're born, you are Mr., and you till death you are Mr. But a woman is a Miss when she is born, and then she becomes a Mrs. when she's married, and then when she's divorced, she becomes a Mrs. So these things have to change. And these are just small things we may not have even thought about in our daily life, but these are small things in which patriarchy is entrenched. Small things like changing your surname after marriage. What purpose has it served anybody? I really don't see any scientific explanation to any change in the efficiency or non efficiency of a woman or a man if they change their surname after marriage. Changing surname after marriage is deeply entrenched to what? It is deeply entrenched to the property rights that women held. And so, hence, it is deeply entrenched with patriarchy. And these are just small things. These are just small things in which patriarchy is entrenched in our everyday lives. and and when we talked about covid, when we talked about a covid world, when everybody was inside the doors, when a man would to take the cudgels to cook food for a day, it was hailed as something, oh my god, that he has finally done it. But a woman was doing it every day, and it was not because, most of the women, they don't do it because they love doing. Most of the women do it because it is expected of them. They're just women. So a man can love cooking and he will cook, but a woman will cook, maybe because she loves cooking, or maybe because it is expected from her to get cooked. So these are the small things in which patriarchy is entrenched in our everyday lives, and the moment we identify it, the moment we are aware of it, then are we able to make changes, then we're able to disseminate about its existence and make other women and men aware too. Like my husband, for one matter, he has never we didn't even have this discussion about changing the surname, and if their kids ever in future, what surname will the kids have. No, there's no discussion about it, because it does not matter. And honestly speaking, you think about it yourself, how does it matter if you are a thapa, or if you marry a pradhan and then become a pradhan, or if I'm a rai and if I've married a south indian and I've it doesn't. You maintain your individuality even in a marriage or outside it. You alone will be happy, your husband alone will be happy, and then only can together be happy. So it is yeah, these small things, we once we identify it, I think opens a bulb somewhere in our heads. um, the seventh point I would like to mention is, which is so very important, and we miss out, we women miss out most of the time, is we have to be physically fit. By physically fit, I do not mean hourglass figures. No, we have to be physically fit enough to carry out our daily work and to be able to defend ourselves to the minimum if time comes. Because however much we try to think of a future where everybody is equal, there is no danger to women, the present reality is a fact. It is a fact that women face danger in public spaces. Although it is upon us, the police and all, we try different methods and ways to ensure that public spaces are safer for men as well as women and children. And we come with various innovative ways to ensure that the safety remains. There is toll-free number, there are street lamps in dark places, there is women patrolling units, etc. But it is important that you take that responsibility, first of all, that if I am in danger, then I will be able to defend myself. And if I am in danger, then I will be able to defend myself. And what does that do? What does that do? That instills confidence in you. Maybe you will not be able to hit if a gang of 2 to 3 boys or men come, but that instills that confidence in you. So when you're being offered a job that has a duty time from maybe 12 o'clock to 8 o'clock, you will not hesitate. You will have that confidence to take that bus or that taxi alone at night and then reach your destination. And that is how you aspire and how you get your dreams, right? If you're getting the job that you want, if you're earning getting a financial stability, that boosts your confidence, and that is your different steps to that, puts you on a higher pedestal to empowerment. So working out is very very important. Women health, especially because we have some of the organs which are biological organs that are not there in a males, like for example things like cervical cancer, things like breast cancer. This happens largely, breast cancer obviously, cervical cancer obviously only to women, and cancer also largely to women. Also there have been, I think, one or two means random those trivia cases in which it happened to some males. I was reading about it someday. But these are the diseases which affect women. And because we have some organs which are more than extra than the men, so we need to take care of ourselves, we need to take care of ourselves physically. And when we work out, when we are strong ourselves, when we are able to take care of ourselves, then it gives us a confidence that allows us to take those steps forward in achieving our dreams, right? And by the way, strong does not mean brute. there is this entire notion of empowered women turning into men. And that is something that we can address. And we have to address. How do we address it? We address it by being conscious about how we are addressing other women, right? So if I am and mind you, that does not, just because a woman chops off her hair does not mean that she's become a man. That there are many other reasons to it. For example, I had to chop off my hair because I just could not do with the sweat. And most of the women in the police chop off their hair, not because they have become a man now, but because with their duty hours does not allow them to keep long hair and shampoo it and then tie it up in a bun and then get sweaty every time. So I can say that for most of the police women in police, that they chop off their hair just to cut down on time. But this entire phenomena of women turning into manly characters, like uh, is something that we should address. It's something that we should address, and we can address it, as I said, by consciously questioning our own decisions. For example, if a lady constable has come to me asking for leave, and if I behave like this one, and I'm like, tum log, you guys are always taking leave, then you guys are not working at all. And she'll be like, ma'am, I have a baby, I have to take care of her. No, 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 all this will not do, you have to be professional. No, no, I cannot do that. Because if I am not thinking about the women in my department, I know nobody else is. For example, there are small, for example, I'll give you a small example. When we go for law and orders, especially when the rural areas, when we go for law and orders, it is usually in areas which has like no public, which is like in the middle of nowhere, right? So if there is a prime minister visit, or there is a, we have a bandobast visit and all, there's a huge area, there's a huge deployment. You have been given a particular area, and you have to given particular duties related to that area, right? So there is a women deployment as well as a male deployment. And uh, and the first thing that comes to our mind is like, how do we do it, how do we deploy, how do we ensure that these things are in place. But uh, for a man, for a male officer, what does he have to think? He has to think that, okay, in case it is VIP is coming at this time, I will be here, I will deploy my men here, they will do this, they will do that. But for a woman, it does not do from that. A woman will start from not drinking water 4 hours before the duty starts, because she has no place to go and relieve herself if she wants to pee. Because a man can go to any bush and do it, some don't, and this one. But a woman has to think, and it's true in women, in police force especially. The number of the cases of urinary tract infections, the number of cases of urinary or kidney related ailments are much more in women police. Because of such things, you don't have an access to toilet, you can just pee like men along the road. And now the concept of bio toilets is there. Now the basic problem with the standard model of bio toilets that are being brought in the departments is that it is an English commode, right? It's an English commode. And in a Western commode, it is a woman can't use it, because for a man, it is there is no contact. But for a woman, there is contact, and it is a biggest source of UTIs are this bio toilets. So what do? We stop drinking water 4 hours before the duty, so that na rahegi baas na bajegi bansuri types. We don't so we don't drink water. There's no water in the bowel. We don't have to pee. So these are the so just imagine the level from which we have to start. That we have to first worry about the toilet, then we can put our mind in more serious things like deployment and doing the duty, etc., etc. But for a man, they just have to start one step ahead of us, that they don't need to worry about those things. Another thing I will give you, during my training period, I will say, I was one of the last persons to get my uniform, to wear my uniform. And the reason was as simple as this: I did not get my shoes. I did not get the shoes of my size. Why? Because they said that they don't have the, whatever you call it, I'm forget, that stencil or whatever you call it, for my shoe, for my size. Because it's not normal to have smaller feet. And what I realized with that, with this, is that there are a lot of women who have so what I do till now is I put two insoles, and then I put stuffed cotton, and then I wear the shoes, and then I am supposed to run with the same level of alacrity, with the same level of speed as my other male friends. Simple things like a body protective gear. Body protective gear when we go for riot control, when we get hit by bricks and stones and bottles, which happens. It's not new, which happens. In Sikkim, it doesn't happen. Good for that. I'm so proud of my state for that. But in other states and in any kind of riot areas, it happens. And the body protective gear that I have got is a body protective gear that is made for an average height Caucasian male, and it does not fit me. Like, and I am supposed to perform with the same level of efficiency, with the same level of electricity, with the same amount of energy as my male. I'm hardly able to carry it myself. And this is not, I will not say this is because I am of a smaller build. This is because nobody thought that women should have different kind of a protective gear, because women have breasts, and it should not be a flat structure in which we can hardly breathe. So these things, who will decide these things? These things will be decided only when a woman reaches that place where she will be able to think that, oh my god, when I was in training I did not get the shoes, when I was in training I did not get the riot drill, so I better ensure that I something is there. And now some women, some of our seniors have reached that position. And let me tell you, after this 1947 we got independent. In 1970s we got our first IPS officer, Miss Kiran Bedi. And it was only in 2019 that for the first time a protective gear specific to a woman's body was introduced in 2019. So when men say that, oh, women have it all, I'm sorry. And we are still trying our best in whatever we can to make it. And I will not blame them at all. I will not blame them, not I'll say at all, but I will not blame them for not having this vision. Because why will they have that vision? They never undergo periods, so they never have the cramps, so they will never understand. They will never have to wear those gears in that size. They'll never understand. They've always got the uniform shoes that they wanted, of the sizes that they have, so they will never understand. It is upon us to educate them. It is upon us as juniors to tell, like I told my boss, okay, sir, I am not getting my shoes, you better get them for me. And he will not get them for me because he will think that I am not able to wear a small feet. And in fact, mostly right-minded men, they take it and they're like, yeah, this is a good point, and we need to think about it. So this is the importance of calling out people and giving them a space in which they can think and come out. uh, and this takes me to another point of taking men with us in our feminist movement. Feminism is it is a wrong concept if you've thought that feminism is about women only. Feminism is about taking as much men as we can, and taking them with us. So when we say that, no uterus, no opinion, um, I do not agree with that too much. We can take their opinion and then we can give our counter opinion and see where they fit, because it's better to make them understand, like I always said, than to confront them. Right? There will be some certain people who will be beyond persuasion. For that, there is confrontation is the only way out, and pushing our point through is the only way out. But for most of the cases, as I have realized, a simple persuasion or a discussion helps. And this COVID situation, and especially the examples that Dr. Kaur spoke about, and the examples that have been set by the various women leaders around the world, including that of New Zealand, and she's a superwoman, and leaders like that have now specifically and clearly pointed out that this age of an alpha male leader is no longer there. This brute, aggressive, alpha male leading the pack is seriously challenged. We need sensitive people, we need sensitized people, and we need people with a very high level of emotional quotient to head, lead, or be in any positions of power. Because the world is not going to take an alpha male, men and women both are not going to take male characters or profiles as an accepted profile leader. So like I'd like to end my discussion here. Thank you so much for being with me, for listening to my thing. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions, and anything that is a point of agreement, a point of disagreement, suggestions, anything, please, thank you so much.
How do we tackle problems where a girl child is brought up in an overprotective way by parents because of the circumstances? Is it natural on the part of parents to worry about the daughter? But few parents get so anxious that they would accompany them even when they reach college. So, how do we empower these anxious parents?
Okay, thank you for that question. It's a very natural question, and we face this question. Being in the police, we face this question a number of times. Firstly, it is completely natural for parents to freak out, because parents, one of the hobbies of parents, every parent, is to freak out at anything related to their children. If you're not doing well in school, okay, freak out. If you're going to, will you get a good school or not, you freak out. Will you get a good college or not, you freak out. So it is very natural. And with the kind of examples that we have, with the kind of the Nirbhaya incidents we have, the Hathras that is happening, and everywhere, even in the, these are the things that make it to the headlines, but there are many in your para, in your locality and neighborhood, which you know, Kiare, when she was going, this has happened, that has happened, and all. Okay, so it is very natural for them to feel anxious. It is very natural for them to try and impose barriers on a young girl's movement, right? So again, I will just say the same thing. The two options are confrontation or persuasion, right? How do you persuade? In order to persuade, what do? um, you have to instill a sense of confidence in them that you are going to be okay. How do you do that? You do that by taking up certain skills, right? You tell them that, see, I have got a pepper spray with me, and you don't have to, by the way, to all the girls who are listening, you don't have to invest on a pepper spray. You can take any cheap spray and keep it in your purse, because any cheap spray will do the work. So you can use any cheap spray. So you have to instill confidence in your parents that you're going to be all right. For example, I started traveling alone, even if it was just Gangtok to Siliguri. I started traveling alone. My The first time I traveled alone was when I was in class 8. And it was not that my mom was a single mother then, and it was her anxiety, you can say, was double, because she, like, father's anxiety and mother's anxiety, so it was double. But she took that plunge, and she'll be like, okay, if I'm not going to do this now, then I'm forever going to keep her under my feathers, and that's not happening. She's not going to. You have to give confidence to your parents about your dreams and how serious you are about those dreams. The moment they see that you are serious and these are tiny shackles that are preventing you, they will be more forward. Secondly, ease it out on them, because they are your parents. Ease it out on them. Okay, firstly, you say that, okay, I will extend it to 6 o'clock in the evening, then maybe 6:30. Then after some months, when they're confident with 6:30, you can go to 7. If you learn driving, if you are fit, and if you are able to convince them that, yeah, if they come, I'm just going to slap them, or I'm just going to push them, and I'm going to run. If they have that sense of confidence in you, see, that level of means huge level. Even now, I'm in the police, my mom worries for me. She worries for me. Even if when I'm in the police, she worries for me. That ultimate zero level of extreme confidence will never come in any parent, because I know that, as I told you, it's their hobby. But you have to convince them or give them confidence to the level in which they will start believing in your dreams for which you are working. So once they start seeing the same dream as you are seeing, or even a glimpse of that, they will be more, I think, hesitant in putting those barriers.
Can I add to Madam Pranjita?
Yes, please. Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay, because I have a grown up child, of course I have a son, but I think the worriness and the anxiety per se, because you have to take care of children, whether it's male and female. Of course the female taking care is, the girl child taking care is different from the male working, but anyway. So I totally agree that the worrying parent is there, but that is how situation is. Because, but I would like to take a little more 360 view on this. One, first is that why this happens. As I said, first I would talk of that and then talk about the rest of the issues. Why this happens is because of the reason. See, I think all of us as females, during our girl, I think Ma'am Aprajita would be seeing those situations and cases, whether you are in school, whether you are in college, even when you are old enough, you're married, or even when you're working, you face eve teasing issues wherever it is. So I totally agree with you that confrontation is important. You know, if you're in a local bus, and if suddenly a hand touches you and you just leave it go, okay, why you should not, you should confront. "Okay, Hanji, you know, why you're doing it, why did you do it?" Because we just feel shame to to communicate, we feel inhibit, and that gives them the, you know, a chance to repeat it again.